Right. Hello, everybody. Yes, we were actually talking about a topic before we started the recording that we're going to continue tomorrow, or maybe continue tomorrow in our Q&A podcast, which is at 9 a.m. If you're watching this later or listening to this later on YouTube, or podcast, we have those live Q&As every single month, and you can look at our Reiki lifestyle calendar to see what days those are. So I just wanted to give everybody heads up that's here live too, that it's at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And there's ways to join from work, join anonymously, ask a question anonymously. So we always talk about that in the actual Q&A podcast. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. And then also, whether you're here live or you are listening later, Colleen does have a Karuna Reiki Master class this weekend, the 17th.
Oh, yeah, it's this Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, which Colleen, I kind of forgot. And so you can go to reikilifestyle.com to register. We do have a few spots left open still. So if you're interested in that, and let's say it's Thursday after you listen to this on the podcast, just email us, Colleen at Reiki Lifestyle, and we can go ahead and get you registered. So yeah, definitely look into that. It's amazing, amazing course. So there's that. And then also we have some classes coming up at the end of the month, Reiki 1 and 2 on the 29th and 30th, and then Reiki Master the 31st through June 2nd. All of these are online. Yeah, again, go to Reiki Lifestyle and you can find out more information about that. So I think that's the announcements. Danny, did I get it right? Okay.
I would just announce that the next thing after that is the end of June, that I will be presenting at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. Animal Reiki there at the Wisdom of Reiki conference. So I'm going to add that.
Perfect. Okay, so as we had talked about over the last couple of weeks, we are doing some business topics for a few weeks. I know that some of you already have established businesses. Some might just be starting businesses. Some might be in the middle of their business, and there might be a good, few good things that you can extract from what we are talking about. But it is a pretty common request that we get in emails and, on social media, things like that, that we do talk about it. Plus, because both of Colleen and I are Reiki master teachers, these are definitely things that we talk more, about in our different classes as well. It's a big subject. We can only go into it, at kind of a surface level, but we are hoping that there are some helpful things that you might glean from this conversation. So what we are going to be talking about today is more of the technical aspects of branding your Reiki business. So last week we talked about kind of the underlying things about your Reiki business, the spirit of your Reiki business, your voice in the Reiki business. And then this week is going to be some more of the technical aspects. So Colleen, do you want to talk a little bit about the importance of branding, and maybe just a few different elements? I would say I'm going to do some Canva. I'm going to do some AI. I'm going to do some of that kind of thing today. I'll be screen sharing. So if you are listening to this, it might be one that you want to go and watch on YouTube, because I will be screen sharing different things about that. And but Colleen will kind of talk about the philosophy behind these things and why they are important.
Well, I will first start out with, and maybe this is a little bit outdated, but it took me forever to understand what branding even meant. Like, I would hear the term, I'd go, what is that? I still walked through the paces of it, but I couldn't quite grasp the meaning of it. So branding is essentially your business identity. And that comes through in your branding profile. So part of that would be how you see yourself in your business, how you express yourself in your business, and then how you present yourself, why you are in business, the how you are going to be in business. So for me, it was easier to think of from the perspective if I had a brick and mortar store. So let's say I had an actual physical location. For me, and many of you already do have that. For me, I have always had my Reiki business in my home for one reason or another. So that is another aspect of it. But let's say you had a storefront. Well, part of the branding would be, what does it look like? What colors did you paint it? What fixtures are you using? How do you want people to open that front door and see it? What does the ambiance or the essence of it convey just through walking through the door? So when I started with Reiki, websites were fairly new. Social media didn't exist. And I was still doing things like going to FedEx and creating signs by printing things, cutting them out, pasting them onto something, reprinting, making signs, hiring signs to be done. There weren't, computer printers, things like that. So it has certainly been an evolution. But I would say that my brand profile has still always had a consistency, regardless of all the changes in presenting my brand profile, all the changes in the methods of marketing. So your marketing is going to run into what your branding is. So one of the advantages of when you make certain decisions about your branding is that then you can convey your message in your marketing in a consistent way. So I'm going to show you a couple things, and then Robyn is actually going to show you some of the how-to. So hold on, I have the wrong thing up. And this is in that article we talked about last week. And this is, again, like Robyn said, we can only talk about it to a degree here. But here is some of the ideas. We talked about this last week where we went through, and if you weren't here, you can go back to our YouTube, and we went through a journey of asking questions. So branding is your professional self-image. It will express your authentic self. It will be consistent, transparent, professional, and then what you will deliver on your brand promises. This is super important. So if you decide how you are presenting yourself, it's very important to deliver on that promise. So you have to think about it. And we've talked about a couple weeks ago, maybe at the beginning of last month, we talked about identifying your ideal client. So that is, who are you talking to, and who's looking at your branding? Who are you appealing to? Well, one of the things to think about is that specific part of the importance of your branding is that you are talking, you want to brand towards the people you're speaking to. It might be something different or you may have a particular way that you're thinking, oh, I want it to look like this, but it's not actually connecting with the people that you're speaking to. So we're going to talk about some of that. Now, this article you can see was written in the summer of 2015. My website, our website, was fairly new. It was innovative at the time. Now it's very outdated. And not just because of the colors, it's outdated because it can't do the technology things that websites can do today. So I have to say that up front. Some of my stuff here is outdated. But one of the things that we talked about even last week was choosing your business name. And that is part of your branding. That's part of your identity. How are you defining yourself through your business name? And here you can see that it says the color of Reiki. That was my original business name. And it didn't connect with people. So when I changed it to Reiki Lifestyle, not only did that convey my brand, but it also helped me kind of, it taught me what my brand is. It helped me create my own identity that Reiki is, for us, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of living using the energy. So you can see some of this is outdated, with the podcast, Live a Reiki Lifestyle. We picked colors, and then we picked the photos that match the colors. And here's more information about your business name, things like a tagline, a logo. I put some other examples in this article. So here's some that we really liked. Again, those colors and those brand identities. So I put some examples in this article. And so now a lot of people have changed those because colors change, trends change, things like that. So Reiki Melody, this one was a great example of a name. So this was Susanna Smanton's website. She has since passed, but she was one of my students that I was mentoring through the licensed teacher program. And her first business name was Shanaki Reiki. Well, every time I went to email her, I couldn't remember what it was. I'd be, no, what was that again? And it wasn't coming up automatically, and I'd have to search for it. So we talked about it, and it was so meaningful to her. The name was so meaningful to her. But I said, but people can't remember it. And it didn't spell, it's Irish, it was Gaelic, and it wasn't spelled the way we would say it phonetically. So she actually changed it, her business name, to Reiki Melody. And look at how pretty that is, memorable it is. The logo could match, her branding matched, it matched her. And so everything kind of came together with that. Robyn's going to talk about even, some of the things that you're deciding about, things like colors, your photos. It can be really helpful when you have a brand identity because it helps you choose things like your photos, images you're working with, social media. At the time I printed this, I wrote this, they didn't have all the copyright-free images that you can get now. So it was a really big deal. It's still a big deal to make sure that, photos and things that you use are copyright free. You use a Getty image and without everything in place for that, and it's about $1,000 fine, and you can't fight it. You will have to pay it. So those are things to consider with it. Just because it's on Google Images doesn't mean it's copyright free. This was another example of a website. This is Kathleen Prasad. She is one of the pioneers in teaching animal Reiki. And I asked her if I could, feature her website. At the time was very current and and, really beautiful and expressed her. And here's some other, ideas about your branding. What is the goal of your content? What's the purpose of it? Who's your audience? What information do you want them to know? And then what action do you want them to take from your content? So here's just some of the different ideas. Some of it, again, is outdated because it has been, things have moved so quickly, and Robyn's going to show some of the new advantages that we have for creating our brand identity. And then the most important piece is use Reiki to help you. So in all of this, in everything, we just met with our business consultant last week. We start with Reiki. We use Reiki all the way through all of our decision making. We use Reiki, we activate it within us. Sometimes it's a quick activation, sometimes it's a lengthy activation, but we use Reiki to let Reiki help us with our own identity, because it is conscious and it's engaged with us with how we are going to present ourselves. So I think that is as much as I want to say, Robyn, because I want to make sure you have plenty of time. The other thing that I wanted to say is we decided we would probably spend more time on the discussion than going into a Reiki journey today. So we'll just see how that goes, but giving her plenty of time to share because she knows a lot of the tips and tricks. So.
Yeah. So there was a question in the chat that I thought was a good question about Reiki lifestyle being copyrighted. So there is a difference between a trademark and a copyright. It's a difference in level of registration. And actually, when you are deciding on your business name, make sure that it's not already taken. So that's another thing to really think about with it is, just search it on social media and search it on Google, because you don't want to build this whole, nobody would take it. I feel like most people aren't going to take it on purpose. It's a, not knowing that somebody else has a business that exists with that. So search it on social media and search it on Google to find out if it's an already existing business, because it can really suck if you have if you've done all this work for your business. Maybe you even have an established business over a year, and then you find out that there was a previously established business that has, and maybe they even have a trademark or a copyright on their business, and they, have to defend that trademark and copyright. So just a heads up with that when you are coming up with that. Now, as far as the legalities of that, those are things that you're going to have to look up yourself. Neither of us are very versed in those terms and in that process and those processes. So certainly, look those things up, and it's going to maybe depend on, state to state, even on some of those. Most of it's federal, but from state to state.
I do just want to clarify real quickly, Robyn, when something is trademarked and it's so uncomfortable as the owner of a trademark, if someone uses that same name, we are actually required to do what is called a cease and desist, or we can lose the trademark. And so,
it's not copyrighted; it's a registered trademark.
It's a registered trademark.
Difference between an R and a TM. Just so, sorry.
R, a TM, and a C. C is the copyright.
Yeah, sorry.
R is the registered trademark, and TM means that you are probably in the process of trademarking.
So, yeah. So that's just, since that question came up, I thought that's a good question since we are talking about business names. So as far as the symbols to use, somebody had asked that. You can use any of the symbols. The mental emotional symbol is really good for this. I would just activate all of them, even when you are doing some of the work that I am kind of about to screen share. So the first thing that I would like to also say is that this is going to be a very basic and probably quick moving tutorial. So some of you are already very familiar with all of this. Some of you may not be familiar with this. There's a lot of tutorials out there that are more extensive on each of the things that I'm going to be showing you. And what you can do, as Colleen said before, is that you can go into, enter subject name tutorial, and you're going to get a lot more extensive things, a lot more information about the things that I'm going to show you. Also, these are very basic because people get degrees in marketing and branding, right? And so there's so much knowledge out there, and there's so much knowledge about the programs that I'm going to show you that are going to help with just at least getting started. So those are the caveats. Also, if you're watching this tutorial or other tutorials, pause, do what they say, go back, rewatch. That's how I have to do the tutorials when I'm learning new things. I am constant, a 5-minute video is probably going to take me 20 minutes. And just know with all of this stuff, there's a learning curve. When I did my first social media reel or TikTok, especially, it took me 4 hours to do my first one. Now it does not take me that long. So don't feel frustrated if you feel like I should have gotten this in 20 minutes. I should have gotten this in 30 minutes. Know that when you are first learning this stuff, it takes time. And then it takes time to watch the tutorial and learn what you're doing. But it gets better over time. And eventually it becomes more natural and more easy and flows a lot easier too. So I also wanted to say that as well. So there's going to be a few things that I am going to show you about this. First of all, these things can be hired done. So you can, hopefully you can find somebody locally. That can be challenging sometimes. If not, you have websites where you can hire people for these jobs. You can type in here, create a logo, and you can see logo designs even in here. And you can find somebody that you can pay to help you create a logo. That can take, filtering through people. And usually with Fiverr, you get what you pay for. So just a heads up with that as well. But you can find, let's go with logo design. You can find all of these people that can create a logo for you. So here's one that might be closer to, a spiritual business over here. Then again, you can definitely see that they have different rates for these things. You can also go by, how they're rated. So top rated, they have reviews. This person has over 1,000 reviews and they have almost 5 stars. So, with the reviews, scroll through the reviews because sometimes people can fake reviews as well. So scroll through them, see what people are saying, and go with somebody that is a mix of people that are, have good reviews, but are also your design. So like this one, for example, that not to say this person couldn't make up a design for us, but this isn't really our brand identity. Those are going to be different kinds of brands. Whereas you look at this one, you can see that this is going to be closer to our brand identity. So I just wanted to give you the idea that this on Fiverr, you can hire subcontractors and they can do a lot of different types of work for you, including social media. So there's that. The other couple of resources to show you is copyright free images and also videos can be found. There's a few different sites that are really good, and these are free sites. Unsplash is one. It has a certain kind of vibe to it that may not be your vibe, but you can find, I'm just going to type in Reiki, although sometimes Reiki isn't the easiest one to search, but if I'm going to type in Reiki, you can find some images that you might be able to use. You might use you might credit the photographer, you might tip the photographer, sometimes you might not, depending on what you're using it for as well. So they do get, credit, exposure. And I do think that there are some payments that come from Unsplash themselves. So you can see there's some photos that you can use. Again, copyright free, and these are free images. And then they also have videos in these different things up here. Pixabay is another one. This is a little bit of a different vibe on Pixabay. You can find, you can see photos, illustrations. Those aren't illustrations. Videos on here as well. So if I search Reiki, you can see these are royalty-free images. Now up here, iStock is a paid service. So that is one that they're advertising up here. So you have to scroll down to see things. You can see illustrations, and also they're going to have videos that you can also look for. So they're going to have illustrations, and then here's some videos. Also, you can see here that there's keywords, and sometimes these more popular keywords are going to give you more results that would also fit into Reiki. And then you can find videos in here as well, because so much of websites, social media, different things are moving to videos also. So another place that you can find free royalty or copyright free images and videos. So those are different resources for you to use. Now, the other thing, when you are looking to come up with your colors, with your identity, we never want to copy other businesses, right? Of course, when it comes to, different things, you can certainly take inspiration from them. Or if you are going to use some of their, content for different things, you can certainly credit them. Now, again, there's a fine line there that you would want to look up, not just laws around it, but also etiquette around it. So you're making sure you're giving credit. But when it comes to looking at what you are kind of wanting in your voice, in your brand identity, things like Pinterest, looking at things like other websites, as Colleen had put on in that article that she showed earlier, you can take inspiration from that. Oh, I like this. I don't like this. I like this. I don't like this. So Pinterest is a good place where you can create like your virtual mood board, right? So again, if you're unfamiliar with Pinterest, this would be something that you would want to create an account and then also look up a tutorial on how to start with Pinterest, how to, and this isn't necessarily for like marketing for your business, although it can be that too. This is for you to help you with your aesthetics, your colors, things of that nature. And you can see here that a lot of these free things are going to have different logos, different colors, and they're even going to give you, I'm going to click on this one. These are called hex colors down here. They used to be called, or in print, they are called Pantone colors. And in online, they are called hex colors. And these are the colors that you can put in I'll show you in a minute, you can put into different gradients and it gives you this exact color. And I'll show you that on Canva. So that's the difference between Pantone and hex colors. And that's also how you are going to, if there's a certain color or color scheme that you like, how you're going to recreate that in a digital format is by finding the hex color of that. So there's that. Now, on Pinterest, you are going to find people that are going to give you some of these things for free. And then other people that, are going to ask that they are putting their information out there for you to hire them, right? Also on Pinterest, one of the things that you can find sometimes are different templates. I'm going to talk about that through Canva, however, but I just wanted to mention that piece through Etsy and through Pinterest. Many times you can find templates for all sorts of things, fonts, landing pages, brochures, things like that, that you can find through them. And you just pay for them. It's usually a minimal fee, like, $10, and then it uploads into a different site, and it gives you the option to be able to just plug and play. I'm going to show you templates on Canva and what I mean by that. So you can see down here with this, it has typography, so the different fonts that are a part of this branding package. And then like the different logos, as far as, here we have a written out logo, here we have a logo, and then we have what's also called like a submark that you can use just as a little print on something. Now, maybe in this, you're like, well, I kind of like different elements, and I like the triangle from here, but I don't like this font and this design. At the same time, like, I would pin this if there's one element of that I would like, so that I can go back later and, create something that's unique to myself that might take elements from different things. So that's an example of that. Oh, let me go back to my recent search: business color, brand, design. That's going to be something that you might, find. The other place that I find actually that has a lot of this is, if you search like wedding palettes and invitations, you can find a lot of inspiration through that. There's a ton of palettes on that. It's crazy. So you can see, as I scroll down, there's going to be different things that I might like about different aspects of each of these. And so I'm going to, I put it on my logo board. So I'll pin one that I respond to. Let's see. I kind of like some elements of this, not all of it, but I like some elements of that. So it's saved to my logo Pinterest board. So that's Pinterest. You can get a lot of inspiration from here. You can find a lot of things that you might like. Oh, this one says holistic brand idea, so things like that. So that's Pinterest. This is a really good place to call in Reiki, ask for those symbols to come in and be in that element of inspiration, be in that element of creativity, of curiosity. This is kind of one of the fun parts of that there's not limits on it. You can, there's not limits on it. You can just pin a million things to your board, and there's no consequences to that, right? You can go back through and then narrow it down to maybe the different things that you like. And a lot of times I'll take notes. Okay, on this board, I like this. On this board, I like that. You can see here that this on Etsy is a pre-made branding kit. So you can go to this person's business on Etsy and you can buy branding kits from that. And you can see that there's different price ranges for that. So that will probably link to their Etsy, and you can go and see and buy this, and they give you directions once you buy it. So there's things like that as well that are also options. This is going to be a range of how much time that we have, how much money we have to invest in some of these things as well. And so there's a lot of free options out there to do it yourself. And then there's some, paid options that range from inexpensive to more expensive. The other thing that I want to show you is that there are multiple ways to extract colors from images. So let's say that you have an image that you really, really love. So you want the colors from that. You need the hex colors that I talked about earlier. So there's a way to do this in Canva. I'm going to show you that as well. But this is colorscoolers.com. You can just pause this and go in and pick that out. Or I think I just Googled like extract colors from a photo. And this one was like the first one on there. There's others too. So you can see on here like that this can change the palette on this photo. And, it can do different ones from that. You can also add colors. So I had 5 before and now I have 6. So it's a thing. But let's say there's this image that you really, really respond to, or a type of image that you really respond to. Maybe it's a really bright, vibrant image, or maybe it's a more kind of natural, soothing image. There's a lot of different options that it comes to. And that's a part of too, where that brand identity comes in. Do you want to have a bright, vibrant look, or do you want to have like a more natural, soothing look? There's no right or wrong about that. It's about what speaks to you, what speaks to your heart, how Reiki can help you with that as well. And so I'm trying to look. I had an image pulled up, but I closed it. So I'm just going to grab one off of my desktop. I think, let's say, okay, I'll do this one really quick. So this is from the viewpoint down the street from my house. So I really respond to that. And so maybe I want to look at some colors that are within that. Now, Colleen and I are a little bit different in this way. She is really more about brighter colors, things like that, where I'm going to generally be more muted, and bordering on moody tones. So we're different in these ways. So, maybe this, not in this scheme, because these aren't really her kind of colors, but maybe this is a photo that you really respond to. You look at that and you're like, okay, yes, this is the image, or this is the palette for me. Now, I had a Zoom background on my desktop that I'll go ahead and use as another example. Let's see. No, it's not that one. Sorry, I had it pulled up and I must have closed it when I was closing Windows. Does this one give me more colors that I like? Kinda, not really, but you guys see what I was saying, right? That it gives you options for colors that you respond to. So there's that. Then what you can do is you can export the palette. Oh, I kind of like where that landed a little bit. So you can export the palette, and you can do it as a PDF or as an image. Branding colors. I wonder if this is the same one that I used before. Export. All right. Now, you can see that this here, that pulled up there, right? Yeah. You can see here that these are the colors that you need to be able to use these colors in your designs. And this is also, if you're using a designer that's simply just designing, you can give these colors to them. So there is another way that you can extract colors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Canva. Now I have a Canva Pro account. If you find that you're going to use Canva a lot, I highly recommend a Pro account, but you can start off with a free account. So it just has less options. So this is a place that you can design logos. You can do social media posts. I get a lot of the templates for our PowerPoints in Canva. I mean, I pretty much use Canva for everything at this point, and I am pretty well versed in Photoshop. I'm not a designer by any means, so I find that the templates are actually easier for me because I can adjust templates for myself, but I'm not a designer, so I'm not going to be able to come up with it out of scratch. And I use Photoshop now for, when I really need something very specific that Canva can't do. But for a lot of things, I'm just using Canva at this point. And it's a little bit of a learning curve. I will say that, especially if, technology is a little more challenging for you. But out of all the programs that I have used over the years, as far as these kinds of things is concerned, once you get a little bit over that learning curve, Canva is actually pretty intuitive and pretty easy. So that is, there's other ones out there that you might find easier, PicMonkey, other things too that I can't think of off the top of my head. But there's definitely other ones out there. And I'm sure there will become ones that replace Canva eventually. Also with Canva, there's so many tutorials out there. Canva has a good help section on their own. But they also have lots of tutorials like on YouTube on different ways to do things. Try to get very specific on what you're needing to figure out when you are Googling something. So don't just put, adjust my logo. Put, I need to change the colors on my logo. How do I do that? So that is, a little tip about finding the tutorial that you need, the proper tutorial that you need. So when I put in here, up here's my search bar. When I put in here logo, there is going to be all of these kinds of logos, which may very well be what you are looking for as something, as far as your brand, how you want your brand to look, which this is helpful, right? The one thing that I will say is that you are going to want to change your logo enough that it's not going to look exactly like somebody else's logo. However, when I put in this logo, this is what's going to give me all of these kinds. If I put in Reiki logo, the other thing this does is it does business cards and flyers really well as well. So let's put in Reiki business card. And look here, there are a ton of different types of business cards. I don't always use Reiki. A lot of times I'll just put in business card and it's going to give me a lot of different options. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the different things that are a part of this. This is a starting point. So let's say I choose this one here because I like that it has a picture over here. I like that it has these little things. Even though I might change the colors, I'm going to change the picture as well. So I don't like the colors on this. I'm going to use my other colors, but I like a lot of different elements about this business card. So that's why I'm going to choose that. So that's where it's helpful with the templates that come in. But if I put back in Reiki business card, Reiki card, it's going to give me more along the lines of what I think most of us are looking for. So that just gives you an idea too, that it can also do flyers. These are your print aspects. So not a lot of these are going to come up with Reiki. That's why Reiki sometimes can be a hard word to use. So use other words, spiritual, then change it to Reiki. So see how you can have so many more options with yoga, right? So that might be a different word that you're going to use. So I'm going to use this as a flyer, and I'm going to change this picture to somebody that is a Reiki, somebody doing Reiki, change this font to somebody doing, change this to Reiki. So there's definitely more options with other words. So now as far as actually designing something, I'm kind of looking for something that has enough elements that I can change them. I think this one might be good. So I'm going to click on that. Over here, you can print it with Canva, or you can just design it and take it to your local printer. So it's kind of up to you. You might want to talk to them about the different sizes that they have, but you can see up here, you have 8.5 by 11. So you can see the sizes up there. So this is just a standard sheet of paper. Now, I'm going to go ahead and customize this template. So then I'm going to close this because that's distracting. When you get in here, the great thing about Canva is that it has a lot of different things that you might need. So if you go to design, this is going to give you different options for different templates. The styles is going to give you different options for the different colors. So if I'm going to change it to here, that automatically changes all of the colors on here. And what I can do, so if I go back to this palette here, is I can create my own branding color palette on Canva. And that's what this is. This is Reiki Lifestyle's current color palette here. And so that just changes it to all of my colors, right? Up here is also undo, one of my favorite buttons. So you can go in and upload your own brand kit. I don't want to do, I'm not going to change this. But you can go in and add new ones if you want. And add, like you go in and add, again, these hex colors. Oops, sorry. So in here, you can also go to your elements. Now, this is going to give you different photos to be able to choose in here. So if you see all, I'm going to search Reiki. And I'm just going to choose this first one. And if I go in here, I just place it over there and it's going to change that photo for me. Change that photo for me. Now I can go in here and I can go Reiki is awesome. And then, so that's a way to do, and then you can, of course, change the fonts. That's all a lot like just regular Word, your Word document where they have all of these fonts. They also have things in here like shapes and graphics, which is really cool. Different graphics, like, you can see that graphic there, things like that are really, really great. Again, if you have the free version, yours is going to look a little bit different. But if you are looking to design different things for your website, graphics can be super helpful. And then one other thing that I want to show you on this are these frames. So this is actually a frame. So I am going to, so here in frames, I'm going to just add one to show you what it is. Oh, hold on. There we go. To show you what it is. What frames are, is that was where I was able to just plug and play a photo. So I'm going to just drag that over it and it automatically drops it in. So here you can see that this is what this is. This is a frame that I was able to go in and put in here. Now, then the other thing with it is with the colors that I showed you before. So you click on the colors. The really cool thing about Canva as well is it actually takes colors from the colors that are from the photos that are on here. And I can upload a photo that I might like in order to get the colors extracted from it. So I've done that in a couple of things. I will go on to here. I will add a photo that I like. Let's say that one. I'll go to my colors. I will pick a color out of here. I'm changing this color up here. I'll pick a color out of here. Also, this change all button at the bottom is awesome because it changes all those browns to this brown. And then if I don't actually want this photo on here, but I liked the colors from it, I'm going to delete it. So that's a really neat thing about it. The other thing on how to find those hex colors when you are in your color scheme here is this is where you're putting in that hex color. So let me go back. I'm going to copy and paste this guy right there. I'm going to put it in here. It might need, it does this. You need this little hashtag thing in front of it 99% of the times for it to pull it up. So you can see that that hex color was pulled up from here. And so what I would do to make this easy is I would have this in my branding colors. Let me go ahead and copy that one in. So there's that one. I'm going to have this saved to my colors so that I can just pull it up easily whenever I want. So that's just a little basic tutorial about how to kind of use Canva. There's text You can actually, they even have different templates here. That's the word that you're looking for, templates. You have that here. You can upload your own photos. You have different folders. You can draw on it. I can't, because I can't draw or even digitally draw, but you can draw on it. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with Canva. It's a pretty comprehensive. That, Colleen, I don't. Thank you. So there's that. Now, the other thing with Canva is that you can. The other thing with Canva is that you can. Am I muted? No. Okay. Is you can go here and you can create social media posts. You can see reels, stories. They have Facebook. They have, this is a presentation that you can turn into a PowerPoint presentation. And they have more options if you scroll down. Logos, YouTube banners. I think that's new, actually. So all of these different options that are within Canva that you can do with it. So there are lots of options in here. Most of the time, or not most of the time, a lot of social media posts I'm creating from scratch, but a lot of the times I am just using a template, and these templates are in here for you to use and for you to change. That's why they're here. And a lot of times they're done by designers. They have contests for designers to, like, you know, get their designs as the design of the day or the design of the week, things like that. Now, Colleen and Danny, I can't see the chat. It's too much to go and look at. So I see there's a lot of chats on mine.
I'm watching it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's just a basic on Canva. Again, there's a lot with this program. You're going to have to and want to watch tutorials. If anything like this interests you, and you are looking to create brand identity, logos, things like that. There's a lot of cute designs, a lot of options on here, that might speak to you. I also, you know, you might do triangle, logo. And then look at how many of those there are. Element logos. So, like, let's say you're connected to the elements. We'll see what this pulls up. Element spelling test. So, you know, I don't know. I don't see. I was expecting like the rune symbols to come up for that, but it didn't.
Probably a different version than what we think of.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, yeah, so that's just the basic on Canva. Now, the other thing that I wanted to cover is AI and how AI can help you in your business. There's a lot on AI. We've talked about it a little bit before.
Robyn, I was wondering if we want to talk about that next week.
Oh, it's already 10. Yes.
Yeah, it's already 10:30. Yeah. I was thinking we should do that and some more on social media next week. We thought we'd cover it all today, but it's such a big topic. And frankly, to me, it is so helpful to know what is out there and available. And, you know, just even though, like, this is only an example that we can give you, for me, what I also do, aside from tutorials, I do a lot of stuff on YouTube. So if I want to know more about how to use Canva, I go to YouTube. If I want to know how to use Canva for social media, I would type that in YouTube. So that's a huge resource. But I think next week, let's go ahead and go into the AI stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah, Alina, Midjourney, I could talk about. They have more. That is something that they do have in Canva. I know we're at time, so I do want to. I'm going to go over that just quickly. I would say Midjourney is maybe the next level with it. It is a little bit of you have to be slightly more tech savvy with it with Midjourney. It's not like you can't use it, and I'm happy to talk about it. So it's not about that. It just is a kind of the next level of tech where I feel like Canva is pretty user friendly. And even though there's a little bit of a learning curve, I feel like everybody can kind of learn it with it all. But I will talk about, Alina. I can talk about, and I'm saying this out loud so we remember, how you can use chat or other AI to write your Midjourney prompts. And for those of you that don't know what Midjourney is, it's an AI image generator. And I find that really helpful because I can't paint or draw. So I find it really helpful for me to be able to express kind of what I experience in Reiki sessions and Reiki journeys and things like that, that, you experience in kind of those elevated states of consciousness. But you can use some AI, and some people are using just this in Canva. So if you go to, oh shoot, am I going to remember it? No, here it is. I have it installed already. It's Dolly, which is another image generator, and you can put in a prompt that, let's see what it comes up with. I'm going to just do tree of life, generate, and it's going to come up with some some art with it. Now, for me, I prefer Midjourney, but other people actually prefer Dolly. And I think Dolly actually was bought by ChatGPT, so I think that it's going to have a lot of big jumps in its abilities, where before it was kind of behind Midjourney. But you can use it through Canva. I think you can use it outside of Canva as well. But I also want to say, when we go over AI next week, I know that there's some different philosophical. So you can see I just changed 2 words in my prompt, and these are the different things that came up. And the prompts are their own science. So as far as AI is concerned, I know there's a lot of different viewpoints on that. What we are simply going to focus on is how it can help you in your Reiki business, because a lot of things that we have found were a little bit of a limitation before. AI can help you. So we're going to just simply focus on that, not any of the other stuff around it. And of course, as a person, you get to have your own viewpoints of it in general. But we will go over some of the ways that it can help you in your Reiki business. So
I'm just going to screen share an example of another AI image. So that would be one that you might be recognizing, a lot of people using these. So, Robyn was helping me create I'm actually doing having a meeting with a Portuguese translator on Thursday afternoon. And so creating the PowerPoint. And so Robyn was helping me do that and created these images in AI for the PowerPoint. So we'll talk about it at least enough next week for you to see some of the possibilities. All of this, obviously, there are people who can and tutorials that can teach you more in depth. And so for me, I deep dive into YouTube with all of this. And sometimes it's a huge rabbit hole. And it's like, oh my gosh, the possibilities are so big that my ADHD brain just goes off on, oh, look at all the things we can do. But what we're trying to do.
What I find helpful, Colleen, with it is when I can see somebody go through the possibilities, like, oh, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
So when you go through the possibilities of seeing what it can do, then it's like, oh, so I can Google how to create a logo through Canva, and that's going to bring me on a YouTube tutorial that's going to help me. Then I'm going to pause and rewatch, and pause and rewatch, and pause and rewatch. And so the best way to learn is just to do it, just to start, because you can watch all the tutorials that you want. And the best way to start learning is just, I'm going to create a logo, and your first one might be crap. So it's okay. You keep going. That's a part of this process.
It's all really fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's creative. And that's the big piece for me is, we think of business practices, but they can be so creative if you want to be creative with it. And so there's the left and right brain aspect of it. And, it utilizes both, but business practices can be really fun. And a lot of times people are intimidated by the idea of, oh, I need to learn business practices, or I need to learn social media, or I need to learn even how to ask a question in YouTube. For me, took forever to figure that out, and to figure that out that I could ask a question and I didn't have to know what the question was. And it would still come up with something that was along the lines of what I was looking for. So anyway, we'll keep going through this. Yeah, it can be overwhelming. Absolutely. And here goes to William's quote: definiteness of purpose sustained over time always produces results. It all takes time. We have been working on getting a new website, starting with like 2016, going, yeah, we really need a new website, to all the way to this whole year developing our new website. So just so you know, this isn't over, this isn't immediate. And we also have a team. So, we've got Robyn, Danny that's here, Sarah that's here, Sue. We have a team. So,
Oh, let me just mention too, there are inexpensive website designers like that you can do yourself. Wix, I found really intuitive. Squarespace is another. I do know Canva helps with website designs. I'm not super, I did Wix a long time ago. So it wouldn't be good for me to go through a tutorial because I'd be doing it at the same time, 10 hours long. But they make really nice websites and they're just templates. They're drag and drop. And so again, little bit of a learning curve at first, but once you get it, you can make a really pretty website with those, and they're relatively inexpensive to do. If you can't, afford a designer or don't know where to start, they're an easy way to start.